Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 184 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben, Joey, and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Happy to talk basketball with you guys after a fun weekend.
Yes, sir. Got a full house. There's meaningful basketball on national television every night. That's a good time to talk about hoops. BA, we got the real BA in the house. Ben, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, feeling good. Happy it's the month of March for basketball wise. It's gonna be so much fun, even though we don't really talk much about college hoops on here. But yeah, of course, look out for March Madness, guys. It'll be a lot of fun as always.
That's right. These next few months are certainly going to be a lot of fun with the basketball, and the games and the storylines just continue to go crazy here in the NBA. So we've got a lot to talk about here today. Before we get into it, let's start off with Pearl like we always do. And to start things off, we're going to go with a player making his return and his debut with their new team. We're going to go with DG, the PG, Darius Garland, playing for the Los Angeles Clippers here tonight. So let's see what we can get with DG. And all right, we got a player in the Pacific Division that's 25 or 24 years old and not a guard.
So this is Golden State, the Clippers, the Lakers, or the Sacramento Kings.
Well, not
The
Clippers.
Suns.
Oh, the Suns. Yeah, my bad. Could it be Jalen Green? Is he still 22 or 23?
He'd be another guard.
And yeah, not a guard and jersey number higher than 13 and above.
Yes.
I think Jalen Green is 4.
Let's see. Trying to think around the league at this point. Younger guys.
How old is Jackson Hayes? I know he's been in the league for a little bit, but he came in really young.
I was thinking him too, but I think he's also the number 10.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Or is he he's 11 actually.
He's
but
11
still,
either way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Phoenix has a couple bigs. Like,
What
do they
about
still have-
Trace Jackson Davis of Golden State?
I think he got moved to the Raptors at the deadline.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
So he's
that.
on Toronto. What
Not
if it's a
him.
guy recently signed? I don't know how old this guy is, but recently signed a real NBA contract with the Golden State Warriors. Gene Santos, who's been playing a lot of big minutes lately.
Yeah, it could be him.
Okay.
I think he fits. I'm not sure how many years he was in college for. Was he a 4-year player?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, there's Gene Santos. There's Rui. There's
Jake LaRavia.
Drake LaRavia. I think he's number 12.
Well, oh, okay.
Let's see, man. There's Quentin Post, who's also in the Warriors. Not sure if he came in a little later. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could be. Who do you want to try out?
I like Gee.
Let's do Heath.
All right, let's try him.
Yeah.
D. Santos. Oh my goodness.
It is
It is
Golden
a
State.
Warrior.
So, and
That
this
makes
is
me
probably,
think it's QP.
and this is probably 24.
Yeah, 24, 25. I mean, it could be Quentin Post. I'm trying to think of who else it even could be as a center. I mean, there's no other center that could be. I think it would have to be QP. We want to try him?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try him.
Quentin Post.
In 3.
Yeah, got him.
Got the
Let's
7-footer.
go.
From small to big, we get Quentin Post in 3. Let us know how long it took you guys to get Quentin Post. But now, let's get into some of the big games that happened over this past weekend. As always, there are big-time matchups, as Nick said, on national TV every night, which is awesome, with headline matchups over the weekend. Let's go back to Friday night, where in Oklahoma City, the Denver Nuggets came to town. A playoff rematch. And my goodness, there were a lot of headlines going into this one, or storylines going into this one. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, reigning MVP, returned to the lineup after missing the last several weeks due to injury. He returned to the lineup. Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, two of the best players in the NBA facing off. In the end, after crazy plays in regulation that made the game go to overtime, OKC was able to get the victory, still winning 127 to 121. A weird game where because of the injury and coming back from injury, Shea didn't play in overtime, but the Thunder were able to still hold on and win the game. But the first place we need to start is early in the fourth quarter when we had a little dust-up between Lou Dort, Nikola Jokic, and Jay Will of the Thunder. So let's see here. Nick, why don't you get us started? You want to kind of explain what happened there in OKC?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there were a ton of storylines going into the game. Two teams played a 7-game playoff series last spring, so there's no shortage of bad blood between the top 2 contenders, I would say, for the Western Conference Championship this year. So there was a ton of mini dust-ups, I would say, leading up to what you described as the dust-up between Jay Will, Nikola Jokic, and Lou Dort, which resulted from Lou Dort making a pretty, what people are saying, a pretty dirty play, just sort of stepping in the path of Nikola Jokic and going at him in a way that really wasn't typical of what you see on a basketball court, especially in the NBA nowadays.
Well, it was a dirty play. Anybody with eyeballs can tell you that, anybody that's watched like literally maybe a fraction of a basketball game, what he did was not a basketball move. It was away from the ball. It was literally just Jokic going back from them letting a bucket in and him just walking to the other side of the court to get back on defense. Lou Dort just standing there, jumps back and hip checks him when he's not even paying. He's just walking down the court. Like, there was literally no reason to do that. Just rude. He should have got. I wish Jokic's brother was there to teach him a lesson, to be honest.
Yeah, Ben, it was a crazy play, as the guys highlighted. Yeah, Dort basically hip checks, trips Jokic, maybe trying to go at the leg that Jokic had previously injured, which, forces Jokic to fall. Jokic gets right up, gets into his face, and then Jay Will comes in, and then we see the brand new meme that is generated across social media with the Joker just going absolutely, berserk over what happened there. Ben, what were your thoughts on all that happened on Friday?
Yeah, teams don't like each other, that's for sure. That was a dirty play. I saw, that highlight multiple times, and it's not the most smartest thing of Lou Dort to do, but I know Lou Dort wanted to be aggressive, wanted to be Lou Dort, but went a bit too far there, thought, and there you go. It all escalates into that, and it was just a crazy back and forth game. That one, it was a great game. I mean, if it's like that, say if they played each other in a playoff series, like maybe the conference finals, then we would be in for another really fun series, hopefully, between those teams.
I'm with you, Ben. I really want to see I'm just ready for a 7-game series between these two teams after that.
I was coming home from work on Friday night and checking Twitter, and Worldwide Rob on Twitter, he was out, sending his thoughts out, and he said when it went into overtime, it's like, play all night. We don't have anything going on. And I think that pretty much expressed the sentiment of most people watching. But it was, like I said, it was a chippy game. I didn't see a lot of the game because, like I said, I was at work, but I saw a montage where it was like, a couple of times there was guys grabbing each other, guys on the ground, like sort of tripping over each other or whatnot. And I was more so wondering, like, what the sequence of, like, what the context directly leading up to that specific play was. Like, because I saw Jay Will rather, on the ground after an OKC possession, and Denver was going back the other way. And then I saw Jokic, like, intentionally trip over Jay Will, or, like, sort of like, I don't know if he pushed him while he was down, or, like, he didn't have to touch Jay Will while he was on the ground, but he did while he was going to attack on offense, sort of. So I wondered if it was, like, directly after that transition play, like the next trip down, it would have been Lou Dort getting in that way and making that dirty play. But, yeah, like I said, it could have been him sticking up for a teammate. It could have been a number of things. But yeah, definitely not a basketball play.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, it's just something that you can't do, especially if, we get into a magnitude of a playoff series between these two teams. Those are just plays that you can't make because Lou Dort is a very valuable member to this Thunder team with his defense and his improved three-point shooting. I mean, just before this happened, he had made a big three and a big step-back mid-range jumper there for the Thunder, and then, that play sort of happens there, and he gets ejected from the game. I feel it's very interesting. Really, throughout all of last season and in the playoff run when the Thunder went on to win their championship, a lot of people were starting to really dislike their team and like the style of play, specifically Lou Dort because of the physicality. And to me, I'm like, it's just good, solid, defense. They play tough defense. Sometimes it goes a little bit over the line, but for the most part, they just have great defenders that are doing their job very well. But there have been a little smattering of plays from Lou Dort that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. And it makes you wonder, like, is this play going to be one that kind of, escalates him from being into the, pesky deep defender like Patrick Beverley sort of conversation into the extreme, like, man, this guy might be a dirty player, like a Draymond Green or a Dylan Brooks in today's game. What do you guys think?
I think he's definitely on that track too. Because just like a year or two ago, we were talking about like, man, this guy's such a great defender. Like OKC really got one with him as long as he develops. And then all of a sudden, now we're talking about if he's a dirty player because he just keeps making boneheaded moves that have nothing to do with it. I love the pesky and the physical defense. It's why I like Detroit as like a team as well. Like even though they're like very, even without Beef Stew, they're a very tough and physical team to go against. I love those kind of teams. I like it being more physical. It always seems that he's just taking it one step further. And then he's like, even in this, when he stuck out and did that hip check to Jokic, he put his hands up. He's like, "What did I do? Don't even try. Why even try to say that you didn't know?" That's what really gets me, and why he's like trending in that way to just being labeled a dirty player. It's because he's doing stuff like that and then being like, "What did I do? What did I do?" Just own up to being a dick. Like honestly.
I don't know if that's totally fair. Like, I think that conversation is a bit preemptive for Lou Dort, to be honest, because it's not like he's out there yelling and barking at officials the way the other guys that we kind of think about with that reputation are. But like, I will say he should be worried, concerned about his reputation going forward. I just don't think that, he's quite on that same level yet. Maybe he's on the pathway to get there. And yeah, like I said, he should be concerned about his reputation.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet. He's on his way there.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd say is I feel like it might be worse if he's like a dirty player because of injuring players or going out of his way to make those types of plays for,
well, he hasn't injured anybody.
Yeah, he has. Remember Ja Morant in the playoffs last year? That's a pretty dirty play that had Ja Morant out for the rest of the series. And obviously the Thunder were a much better team. But, I mean, in that game, the Grizzlies were up by like 30, nearly 30 points, I believe, in that game. He injures Ja Morant, and coincidentally, the Thunder are able to come back and win the game, and then they take the series. So it's not like he has had plays where he literally took out a star player from series. So if there are a couple more of those, then I think we could very well be in that sort of situation.
And like you said, wasn't Jokic coming back from the leg injury and then Dort goes right after the leg? Like it looks like, because he's just obviously with the height difference, it seems like he's going at it, but I don't know.
Yeah, so
I don't know, man. I'm watching this replay of Lou Dort. I mean, like, on this Ja Morant play, he's a defending Scottie Pippen Jr. in transition, and then like loses his balance and gets caught up underneath Ja Morant, who goes to dunk on him. Like Lou Dort was in the same spot the whole time, and John went for a takeoff. I don't know if this is a dirty play because Lou Dort is giving effort to defend the ball. I wish we could clip it in. I don't know if you guys can see it, but like he loses his balance and falls down, nearly falls down right before Ja takes off the dunk. Lou was in the same spot the whole time. I don't know if this is necessarily a dirty play. I think the Jokic play that we saw this weekend is much more on the level that like you guys are talking about. But like as far as getting the reputation, I think it's a bit preemptive.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I think the Ja thing though, because it's Lou Dort, just like because like with the whole Steven Adams Draymond Green thing, because that was Draymond Green, Lou Dort is never going to get the benefit of the doubt, and he shouldn't, because if you're the player that's right there when a player gets injured like that for the rest of the season, you're going to get the blame on that. That's just kind of how it is, and that's just kind of how it is going to be perceived. So, I mean, like, he's just not going to get the benefit of the doubt, and it's hard to when you see plays like that, or I mean, plays throughout. I mean, really, any game he plays in, where I mean, he is the leader of one of those Thunder defensive players that can go a little bit over the line sometimes, and I feel like that could potentially be where we're headed. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm not. I don't have the full, catalog of the Draymond Green plays when, he was getting it going. But before, he in like 2016 was having the whole stretch of games where he was just, kicking his leg out off of shots. I'm not sure how many dirty plays he had before that. I don't really think there were many that really stood out. It's when that started, when they were winning, that it started to become more magnified. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this was kind of another situation like that, but we'll see. I mean, it's definitely, there's a reason we're talking about it. It's a big play.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, OKC able to get a big victory, Ben. What were some of your biggest takeaways overall, X's and O's wise, on how the Thunder were able to get the best of the Nuggets in overtime, even with Shea sitting out of the extra period?
Well, over time, the Thunder still really wanted it, and they believed it was tough that SGA had to sit out overtime, but understandable because he was on his minutes restriction for just coming back. You want to get him healthy still, but was impressed the way guys came in outside of Shea that's really stepped up in that overtime. I was looking at the score of that game and I was like, oh boy, I picked the Thunder to win. That's couldn't go wrong in overtime with Shea on the bench. But now the role players played hard. They played some great defense in overtime to sort of slow down Jokic and Murray, who, yeah, both of them did end up having big games still. Great stats, but just throughout the whole game, the Thunder were playing pretty physical, and on offense, the big shots from the outside went down. They played smart basketball when it mattered most. The Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big win for the Thunder. Also considering, they were down for a large part of the game. I mean, Denver played, pretty well for the most part. Just as we've seen in years past, it was kind of the few minutes where Jokic was off the floor when things really unraveled, which it could be a little bit of a concern, right? Because this year, getting a guy like Valanciunas as the backup five, it's like this is supposed to be your guy to be the backup center and not, completely lose the minutes when Jokic is off the floor. But we see in this game, Valanciunas plays 8 minutes and is a minus 21 because he could only.
They gotta get healthy though. I mean, yeah, Cam Johnson twisted his ankle, or after that would have been after this game rather. But they gotta get healthy. Like you want Valanciunas to fill that role. I think it's hard to say he's doing a really bad job if he doesn't have the other guys who are supposed to be there next to him doing his job with him. Because they're gonna struggle without Jokic on the court regardless, and then if they don't have their whole staff, it's gonna be even worse, obviously.
I bet they're missing their backup from last year, who's now a starter.
DeAndre Jordan, baby, starting in New Orleans.
26.
Dude, for a second, I'm like, who the heck are you guys talking about? But, oh my Lord, dude. We talked about it before. They're still doing it. New Orleans starting DeAndre Jordan over Derek Queen in March of 2026. I mean, dude, golly, stay tuned to our award show this year, where a certain team will be handed a nice award, unless something else crazy happens over the final month and a half of the season. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Denver. I mean, they had another loss over the weekend as well, as they lost to Minnesota on their home floor, 117 to 108. Minnesota, we talked about it last week. Minnesota is a team that's had some very strange results in their games, but come in, get a nice victory at Denver. Nuggets not able to really hold on in that one. Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets, is this just a situation, Joey, where, like Nick said, I mean, they just need guys to get back and healthy on the floor?
Yeah, I'm kind of with them on that, just because it's hard to go against this kind of team, because we've seen them when they're healthy, and they're right there with the Oklahoma City Thunder as like the best team in the league. Like we can see that's why, like Nick said, and I agree before that, like them and the Thunder are the top two contenders in the West, in my opinion as well, because when they're healthy, and hopefully they get healthy, because they need it, because this is not because obviously we're questioning, because it's not a good look right now.
Yeah, I will say that with Denver, they've slipped down to the 5 spot in the West here, starting the month of March, and there's a lot of things that need to go right when you want to contend or even win Western Conference or NBA Finals championship. And like they're talking about Jokic's wrist not being right, which has been a struggle, I guess, for like his whole career. And it just might not be their year. Like coming into the year, you thought they had the best supporting cast and all that, but then Aaron Gordon goes down, Cam Johnson goes down, Jokic misses time. He's not 100%. He hasn't looked right since he's been back. So like they're running out of time here, and they're not out of time yet. Like this could be a thing where it's like, well, the Nuggets were almost out of it in March, and now here they are in June, and they look like a juggernaut again. And so those kind of things do both happen, but it's at like that point where it's kind of tipping, breaking the other way, running out of time, sort of thing.
Yeah, you want to be trending in the right direction near the end of the season. Right. And of course, there's still, a while to go here. They have 21 games left to go here. I think maybe 20 after today, as they should be able to pull off this victory in Utah against the Jazz. Right now, they're up by 9 with 7 minutes to go. Jamal Murray has 35 points already with 8 threes. So he continues to just have an incredible season here. But yeah, I mean, right now, Denver, like you said, the 5 seed. I mean, all these teams that are kind of in the middle here are going to have to make sure that they're in a solid position, because right now, if you're Denver, you're in the 5 seed, but you're only 2.5 games from being in the play-in with, where the Suns are in the season they have been. And I know they've been dealing with injuries too, but they are still able to find wins, somehow. So for Denver, you've got to be able to, with your team that is more talented, more deep than a Phoenix Suns team, you got to look, maybe it's not just the Phoenix Suns, but you got to look at yourselves and be like, man, if a team like the Suns can get together and pull out wins, even when some of our best guys are out, we've got to find a way to do it too and be in a good position going forward. Because right now, I mean, you do not want to be, I don't think you really want to be in the 4-5 matchup if you are Denver, because I mean, your second round would most likely be against Oklahoma City, and then your first round is going to be a dogfight. Like right now, it would be against Minnesota. It could be against the Rockets. It could be against, a Lakers team that's up and down. So just, you want to make sure you're in a good position right now. And right now, Denver is not trending in the right direction. So that'll be something to watch over the rest of the year.
I know just for this game, where we were talking, like the Nuggets haven't been healthy and stuff, but man, if I were the Nuggets, I would just absolutely hate to go against Minnesota in the first round. That would be the absolute worst thing.
Yeah. Although that was the Wolves' only win against Denver in the regular season, but of course, getting that last one could be nice, confidence-inducing going forward.
Over the last couple of years too, as well. Just the Wolves dominating them.
Yeah, and that's not what you want in your first round matchup either. Especially. But yeah, definitely crazy from the Thunder and the Nuggets. I'm trying to remember. I feel like they have to play at least one more time this season, I would think. I feel like they haven't played each other a whole lot. I'm going to look into that right now and see if they play each other
2 or 3 more times.
Yeah, play each other 2 more times on March 9th in OKC, and then Friday, April 10th in OKC. That's got to be like the second to last game of the regular season.
Oh wow.
So that could be a huge game there, but definitely this could be definitely be a fun rivalry matchup. We'll see. We'll see if we can get another 7-game series out of this in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving on to Sunday afternoon, the game that we were all looking forward to here on the podcast between the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks. Victor Wembanyama's only visit to MSG during the regular season. Spurs riding in on a 11-game winning streak. But man, the New York Knicks came to play in this one, snapping it by dominating them, winning 114-89. Spurs with their lowest point total of the season, where the Knicks went on a nice run to close the first quarter and give themselves momentum that they would have for the rest of the game. I believe they went on something like a 26-2 run from the first to second quarters to really open up the game. Nick, you watched this game. It kind of went both ways. I know going in, you were saying you'd expect the Spurs to come out and win by a lot because the Knicks have been so wishy-washy. But, that's how crazy the league is. The opposite happens.
That's exactly what I said in the last episode. I said just when you think there's a sure thing, the exact opposite happens. And, 25-point win or so. Not what I was expecting to wake up to on Sunday morning. That was a fun game to watch, though. Yeah, Sunday afternoon in the Garden, charged atmosphere, Wemby, the alien, in New York City for the only time all year. And, man, did they come out like hunting Karl Anthony Towns. I think Wemby was the most aggressive I've seen him outside of like the All-Star game in the first couple opening minutes there. Just going right at Cat. Like, I thought he was going to have 50. I texted you guys that he was going to go off, and I thought the Spurs were going to run away with it. That's how it looked in the first couple minutes. But then, man, everything changed. They called a couple fouls on the Spurs, sent Brunson to the line for three. They missed another, like, offensive foul on Mitchell Robinson, an illegal screen that gave Brunson another three. And I think they went 7-0 to close the quarter or something, and then opened it up, like you said, in the second quarter as well, and then they just never looked back. Spurs started playing really poorly. Devin Vassell took some contested threes that he had no business even shooting. Wemby looked much less aggressive than he did in the opening minutes. They stopped playing defense. Like, their opening first 7 minutes of defense, I think the Knicks scored like 9 points in the first 7 minutes or something. Like, they did not score in the opening part of this game, and then it looked like the Spurs were tired. They looked gassed, and they got less aggressive on both ends and started falling behind and never were able to catch up.
Yeah, well, I think what happened was I thought the Spurs game plan going into this game was perfectly executed. What they did was they put Victor Wembanyama on Josh Hart and had Stephon Castle guarding Towns, which is, just a completely opposite matchup. But they left Josh Hart open to shoot. They were saying, hey, if you beat us, go ahead. And he could not make a shot to start the game, which opened up everything else for the Spurs coming back down the floor. But after that start, I mean, yeah, I thought the Spurs were just not playing smart. And I think it started with, you mentioned Devin Vassell. I think De'Aaron Fox had a pretty awful game in this one with just, 7 points, 3 of 10 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3, and a lot of them were pretty bad looks. I mean, something that just stood out to me. So there was one play in the second quarter where once Mitchell Robinson came in the game, Brown put him on Wemby. So the Spurs ran a play where Wemby was coming off a down screen to curl to the basket, and he got a dunk because it was like Harrison Barnes setting the screen. So Brunson switched on to Wemby, and Mitchell Robinson can't navigate screens on the perimeter.
He dunked it, and then the ball went up to the – he dunked it, and then the ball went to the ceiling of MSG.
Yeah, it was crazy. So they get a dunk. Next play, De'Aaron Fox calls the same play, so you think they're going to try to get the same action. But instead of looking for Wemby, he took his guy off the dribble and took a contested mid-range shot before the screen was even set for Wemby. And, there were just those plays that you're just thinking, what is he doing? This makes no sense. And Joey, this is just something that you haven't seen from the Spurs all season.
Yeah, I agree. Even one that kind of stuck out to me, I remember they were trying to, I forget what quarter it was, but it was like Luke Cornett trying to get it to Wemby in the post because he had OG Anunoby on him and a little bit of a size matchup. And so Cornett tried to throw it to him, but he just was lazily and threw it short, and OG stole it just super easily. I'm like, man, I just Wemby's 7'5", and you can't even get him the ball. That's just not good, even on the offense. But yeah, the defense was just awful. But I will say, at least on the Knicks end, if I can switch gears here, I loved what I saw from Mikal Bridges. I need him to be a more consistent piece, averaging 20 points because I know we always talk about Brunson and Cat because those are the main two, and even Mitchell Robinson just because of his offensive rebounding capability. He feels like he's like the third or second time most important player on that team. But Mikal Bridges as a scoring option is what they desperately need, and it showed how valuable he is in like the game against the Spurs. Like he was just it looked like his confidence was through the roof. He was shooting everything, and it was going in. He played fantastic, even on the defensive end, just intercepting steal, like just getting all the steals. Like him on the defensive end, like you get him going scoring, like he can do anything you want. He's such a good piece for them.
Yeah, Ben, I think, along with that, the Knicks were just quicker to the hustle plays and the 50-50 balls. And I think we saw that throughout the game. I mean, what were your overall thoughts from both teams?
I think the Spurs, I agree with what you guys have said on them so far. Looked nice to start of the. I was watching like the Ohio State basketball game during that game. Shout out to them for upsetting Purdue. But when I was looking at the score of that game, yeah, I was shocked that the Knicks just started going on such a huge run. Like the Spurs were getting sloppy. As you guys said, they turned it over like 22 times, I believe, that game from what I saw in the back score. It's hard to win really in any game when you turn it over that many times. And yeah, Spurs could have been a bit tired, but yeah, it was definitely a disappointing showing on the big stage. I thought I was going to see better from them. I predicted them to win that game, but credit the Knicks. Like when they can find ways to get on big runs that I've seen them do in multiple big games this year, they're hard to beat, hard to slow down when they really get their rhythm going. And your Knicks, you gotta hope you can keep doing that stuff more consistently to be, dangerous come playoff time and stuff. But it was overall really good, really impressive game for the Knicks. Then they rebounded really well, which was something I talked about with previewing that game. How would they rebound? They rebounded pretty well. Cat rebounded impressively well, and Mikal Bridges supported for some other like role kind of guy that stepped up and he came through and had a fantastic game on both ends. So yeah, encouraging win there for the Knicks.
Yeah, so we'll see if this boils over for the Spurs at all, or if this can start something for the Knicks. Because against these quality teams, we've talked about it so much on the podcast recently. They kind of really haven't stepped up. They've either dropped the ball, or if they've won, it's been by by a very small margin, and they've had to come back and win the game. So this a very big win for the Knicks' confidence, and for San Antonio, I think their biggest loss of the season. So we'll see if they can respond. I think some of that stuff. I mean, still a young team, and I think games like this are maybe why we may not see them do anything super crazy in the playoffs. I mean, it's a team that is definitely capable, but it's a team similar to the Detroit Pistons that are very young, and you might, still be prone to seeing a young team make mistakes, and that's, just part of the growth.
Mm-hmm.
New York's next game, I believe, or maybe not their next game, but their next big highlight game comes up on Wednesday when Oklahoma City comes to town. The champs visit MSG for their only visit of the season on Wednesday, 7 o'clock on ESPN. I believe this is the first time these two teams have met up this season. Ben, what are you looking to see for in this game with the Thunder visiting the Knicks?
Yeah, that'll be a really fun one. Maybe a finals preview there. I am going to be curious more so for New York because I remember last year when they played the Thunder the regular season, they had a tough time against OKC. OKC with their high-end style, like to get in the passing lanes on defense. I think he had some trouble last year, but they will be at home, which helps, and I think the Knicks would try to just, hopefully keep being really confident like they were in the Spurs game and hopefully find ways to go on some big runs. If we could go on a big, scoring run, well, that could really help them once again. And Cat Mitchell Robinson just got to do really well on the boards once again in another big game. It's Thunder's two big guys down there. It just could come down to role players. Both teams have some nice role guys, and thinking it could be one that comes down to who does better outside of the star players and stuff. But it'll be interesting. The teams haven't played in a while, so who knows what could happen.
Yeah, for sure. SGA in the Garden. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I feel like he's one of those guys where you would think that he is going to at some point have a huge eruption in the Garden, like a 40, maybe 50-point game. I don't know if this is the year where it happens, but he feels like one of those types of players that is due for one of those legendary type performances in the world's most famous arena.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see what happens with that one, the Thunder and the Knicks on Wednesday. We mentioned the Spurs, their next game, they have a chance to respond tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers in what will be a very special presentation sort of game on NBC. NBC Throwback Night, 8 p.m. on NBC and Peacock, where we've got Bob Costas on the call along with Doug Collins and Mike Fratello. So a classic crew for this one. Joey, as the podcast vet, how excited are you about this one?
I am beyond excited. This is awesome. This is classic NBC basketball right here. I'm very excited. Those announcers, Bob Costas, legendary, Mike Fratello, legendary, Doug Collins, one of my absolute faves from back in the day. I always liked him as a head coach too. Oh, I don't know. I'm very excited. This is going to be a good matchup. Kind of a big game for both teams because I know the Sixers want to keep doing well and possibly rise in the East while it's still a little open before we get down to the end of March. And the Spurs obviously just got blown out. They need to come back from that and shake it off to show their resilience and to prove that they won't just get shaken up just because of one bad loss. They're bigger and tougher than that. So that'll be a good game.
Yeah, we'll see if Embiid can be back soon for their team. He's going to be out for this one with a right oblique strain. He had come back for a couple of games, but now out once again. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I think maybe the biggest game that's going on here tonight, which is not on national TV, is the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers taking place in Cleveland after the two teams had a hard-fought battle on Friday night that went to overtime. The Pistons were able to get the victory 122-119. No James Harden, no Donovan Mitchell in this game for Detroit. They had Cade Cunningham up until the final minutes of the fourth quarter where he fouled out, but the Pistons were able to make a comeback at the end of regulation, get the victory. This was a crazy game that had a lot of weird things. We had a 15-1 delay. We had fans ejected for, I want to say, touching the referees. I saw one angle of that. This was just a wild game. Ben, what were your takeaways from this one?
Yeah, I was watching that game, and it sure was a crazy one. And I know the Cavs lost that by a close one, but I wasn't really mad by that loss from the Cavs. Like the Cavs, like they played well, like without Harden and Mitchell, and I was impressed. Like they were right in the game against the Pistons, and they had a good chance to win. Just fortunately, some a few slip ups the Cavs had, and Pistons, you know, came through, to tie it up, to send it into overtime, and the Pistons got off to a strong start in overtime. Unfortunately, the Cavs just weren't able to like do enough to totally come back from that. But proud of the Cavs fight, and Allen and Mobley and Schroeder and Miro, all those guys had nice games. Appreciated the way guys were stepping up. It looks like the Cavs have a good next man up mentality in case Mitchell or Harden go down. But uh, just for the Pistons, they didn't have their best game was shooting the free ball again. I do have concerns with that going forward, but I have mentioned that before. But yeah, the Pistons at least snuck out with a win in overtime over the Cavs, but I'm sure they're thinking, well, they could have played better, and could be kind of a wake up call for them there. But Cade and Duran, still did their thing, had really good games. Duran they gave the Cavs some problems with the rebounding. He rebounded really well, so the Cavs are really good at the focus on doing that better around him when they play them again tonight.
Yeah, Joey. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on here, but anyways, Joey, what were some of your biggest takeaways from the Cavs Pistons game? Where again, a lot of guys were out for the Cavs side of things, but overall, I mean, they fought really hard against the top team in the East.
I completely agree with what Ben said. As a Cavs fan, I'll say Detroit ain't shit. Like that's exactly what it is. Like based off of this game, I don't view them as like a legit threat. We just saw the Knicks play a great game against the Spurs, who was a top contender in the West, and they dominated again at home. And kind of things didn't go right for the Spurs, but like still, that's a huge win. And you're going against the Cavs with their star backcourt out, and you have to go to overtime. I loved it as a Cavs fan. Like I was going in thinking we were going to get dominated. So the fact that all these supporting guys played so freaking well, it gives me a lot of hope as a Cavs fan. In Detroit, it's a wake up call. It really is. Oh, and now because it was still February, Black History Month, Jared Allen is up there with like Hoodie Mello and Mask Kyrie as
It's
like
untucked Mello.
No, Hoodie Mello, man.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, my bad. What's the
And
untucked?
untucked Kobe was insane. But yeah, I thought it was a great game as like just a fan watching it. It was a really fun game as well. Very interesting with the air horn though.
Yeah, that was definitely crazy. Yeah, man, that was crazy. But it's interesting though, coming out after that game, where even though the Cavs lost the game, Nick, there were reports from inside the locker room from Chris Fedor, the Cavs beat reporter, that said that the prevailing feeling inside the Cavs locker room is that the Pistons can't beat them in a playoff series. With a quote from a source in the locker room, "They aren't in our class." What do you think about that sort of take from the locker room after the game?
I think it's right on point. I mean, based on what happened in that game, Pistons were completely healthy, and like we've talked about them all year, I mean, we've seen it with JB too. Like, have really good beginnings of the years, regular seasons. Like the Cavs had multiple 20-game win streaks, I think, under his tenure. Like he's a great coach, and they just haven't always gotten to the finish line. So could be a similar story here in Detroit with him, because like we've talked about them not having a second punch after Cade, and I think a Jared Allen and Evan Mobley led like competitive game against the top seed in the East would have your spirits feeling high. So yeah.
Yeah, whether or not that is the case, we'll see. If these teams do meet in the playoffs, but again, they do face off again tonight. The game in Cleveland. The Pistons have the season series 2-1 right now, so the Cavs will look to answer back. James Harden returned to the lineup on Sunday in a Cavs victory against the Brooklyn Nets, so he'll be back. Not entirely sure if Mitchell will be back, but the Pistons will have some additions coming back as Isaiah Stewart will finally be able to play for the first time after the 7-game suspension after the brawl with the Hornets. So we'll see if he can, have something to say to the Cavs about being in the same class.
It was getting dicey and chippy in that game too. Jalen Tyson was getting all up in Cade's grill and was being the little pest. So I'm curious to see what Beef Stew responds with when he comes back.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, what do you think is going to be the key in this game tonight? I just saw Donovan Mitchell is going to be out, so it looks like they're going to just keep the same lineup going there. What do you think is going to be the biggest key for the Cavs to try and pull that one out?
I would say, my principles as a coach are transition defense and rebounding. I think that would apply well to this game because if you can run Detroit shooters off of the three-point line and keep them off the boards, like Cade isn't going to score 120. So if you get out in transition and outscore Cade and limit those other guys, I think that's probably their game plan.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely excited for that one. Do you want to say though? We were just when we were talking about the Nuggets earlier, we were mentioning their game against the Jazz. They have blown their 7-point lead. It is a 1-point game with 31 seconds to go. So they are currently in a dogfight. So we'll see if Denver can hold on in this game. But if they lose, then the sky might be falling in Denver right now.
No, because listen, the Cavs almost blew a lead to Brooklyn the day before yesterday. It's like these mid-tier, like these middle-of-the-pack playoff teams in both conferences, 4 or 5 seeds, Cavs, Denver, are like the sky isn't falling, but not everything is rainbows and butterflies because Denver's banged up, the Cavs were banged up. I think it's just like what we talked about earlier. It could go either way, and you want to be trending in the right direction. It's not good, but it's not sky falling.
Well, I will say though, it doesn't help if you're Denver that Murray and Jokic, your 2 best players, have been available for these games, for these big games, which the Cavs have not had their best players available in all these games, and they've been close games. Like we're talking about the Pistons game, like that might be a good loss or whatever. This, even if they pull this out, this is going to be a bad win. These are not the types of games you need. I don't. It's just a tough situation, but we'll see if they can hold on. Apparently, what a stat! Denver in the fourth quarter is 3 for 10 from the field and 18 for 19 at the free throw line. They've been going on the free throw line a ton in the fourth quarter. So we'll see what happens in this one. But yeah, I guess some other news going on around the league. We have some players that are finally back on the mend after injury, some star players. Tonight, Giannis returned to the lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks. Unfortunately, didn't really help out a whole lot. They got destroyed by the Boston Celtics at home. They only scored 81 points in a game where Kyle Kuzma didn't play. Very interesting, Doc Rivers. So that was definitely very interesting. Joe, what do you guys think about Giannis returning back to the line? I mean, I know it's something we talked about all season, but does it make sense for him to be playing right now?
Nothing that Doc has said over this entire year has made sense. He has said, we're contending. We're going to try. We're going to contend. We're going to make the playoffs. We're not tanking. Brother, you can't even score 85 points against a Celtics team without their best player, and you got yours back.
You're
not doing it. The only good thing about Giannis coming back is for Knicks fantasy hopes. That's the only thing good
Well,
about Giannis coming back.
the one thing that they could be saying to justify it among themselves in the front office is, like, say that the door to trade him is still open this summer. Like, he could raise his value even more between now and then if he's on the court.
His value's already at the highest because he was playing the rest of this year so great.
Okay, but if he's playing out of the planet going into a trade, it's like you might be willing to give up more just because of the recency bias. Like that's what I'm saying. That's the only way.
If he gets hurt again, then like which very well happen.
I know.
That's like to me, I do not see a single benefit of him playing when they are 3.5 games out of the play-in, where I don't think any of those teams will drop, because you got the Hornets who have been playing really well and the Hawks who've been playing really well with Kuminga now on their team. They're on a 4-game winning streak as well. And again, Milwaukee, they still have an avenue to having their own first-round pick. Thank you, New Orleans Pelicans, again. So it just doesn't make any sense. So we'll see if he, continues to play or not. But I guess it's good for Giannis that he's back and he gets to play, the game of basketball that he loves against these high-level teams. But overall, I just don't think for the long-term plan it does them any good at all for number 34 to step on the floor for the rest of the season.
Except for fantasy for Nick. Nick is secretly emailing the Milwaukee Bucks and saying, "You better bring him back. He better
Correct.
play."
And in that case, it enhances the argument that there's no good to him being on the floor. Some other return. It's announced that on Thursday, Trae Young is going to make his debut for the Washington Wizards, so he will come back. That might be a similar discussion where I don't know what benefit it brings them, but it'll be good. It'll be good that he's
Did
coming
you see
back.
what happened tonight, though?
He got thrown out.
He got ejected before he even played it. Just announced today that he was going to come back later this week, and then he gets ejected in the game tonight, just being on the bench. The funniest thing, man.
But yeah, Trae Young, who's been out for really most of the season here, with varying injuries, is now going to get a chance to play for the Washington Wizards. Now, how many games will it be for this season? Because they are, in a tank battle like every other lottery team in the league. Who knows? But it'll be good to see. It'll be the best Wizards player we've seen there in a pretty long time, stepping on the floor and in his first game since literally right after Christmas. So it'll be exciting to see at least what it looks like with Trae Young on the floor. This is the fun time, I think, for Wizards fans with him playing, because there's going to be no pressure at all to do anything. So he can play maybe the freest that he's ever played in his career at this point.
Bro might get a triple-double. 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 turnovers.
Disrespectful.
But maybe the biggest potential return that was hinted at today by Bill Simmons on his podcast was the return of Mr. Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics, who has been out the whole season with that Achilles injury suffered from, last year's playoffs. It's been unclear if he would come back for sure or not this season, with Boston still playing so well without him, but they still have a chance to win the title. So Bill Simmons said that he expects Jason Tatum to return as early as this Friday when the Celtics take on the Dallas Mavericks. And my goodness, that could be extremely huge if he's able to come back this early and have a month of games to play before the playoffs.
Do the Celtics immediately go to the top of the East contenders if he has an entire month to play before the playoffs? I think yes.
I would still give it to – I was thinking about this today. I would still give it to the Cavs.
Really?
Yeah, that's my Eastern pick right now.
Interesting. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I somehow didn't hear about that Bill Simmons report, but boy, that would be huge for the Celtics, as you guys mentioned. If he had like a month to ramp up, like, wow. And yeah, the Celtics would be right up there. I would say it's top contenders to win the East. Like, it's gonna be the exact case with him coming back. I have been impressed with them playing pretty well without him. And yeah, it's tough to say between like them or like the Cavs or the Knicks. Who would like come
And
out of
still
out of the
the
team.
Pistons.
But I mean, Tatum came back. I think with the top teams in the East, it just make the playoffs a lot of fun in that Eastern Conference. It'd be tough to predict who could win, and stuff. So he comes back, definitely make the playoff picture more interesting.
Hey Joey,
Yeah.
whose fantasy team is Tatum on?
Oof.
Yeah.
You
Once
did.
again, I mean, this
I
is a
caught
situation where there actually are some positives, but I mean, there's a glaring negative here in this situation. Returning back for the injured reserves. But no, Jason Tatum coming back for Boston, I mean, obviously it would be huge. Looking at their schedule, it would be crazy, actually. If he came back on this Friday when they host the Dallas Mavericks, they'd be throwing him right into the fire because they play Dallas at home on Friday, then a 3-game road trip at Cleveland, San Antonio, and OKC. How in the world did that get scheduled as a 3-game road trip?
There's no way he plays that.
That would be absolutely incredible. But yeah, I mean, to your question on if they'd be the favorites in the East, I feel like on paper, I mean, they kind of would have to be because they're the only team that you really trust, really, to make it that far, that has the prior experience. But at the same time, like, that'd be kind of crazy. I mean, a month for him to get reintegrated into the lineup with a whole new team. Like, this is a brand new team that he'd be coming back to. Like, I think it'd be very tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like you said, they have the experience. If I have anybody that's like in any trust to have a person come back and reintegrate into a brand new team, it would be Jason Tatum because he's still got the main guys there. Pritchard,
who's better?
Derek White, Brown. Who?
Integrating and doing that role is James Harden.
Who's
Jason
not?
Tatum, low key. I mean, like he's great next to Derek White and Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown, and he was great next to KP for a year. I mean, like I'm not saying he can't come in and beat Jason Tatum. I'm saying it might be more of a learning curve for him than I think. Like James Harden has been a very smooth transition. I also think, like I said, I was thinking about this earlier. I think Boston, like you said, Miles, has a new team. Like they have guys like Baylor, Shireman, Kada, who are out there playing big time roles for them right now in the midpoint of this season. And like honestly, I think they're undersized.
Yeah, that kind of has been something that you'd worry about. But Tatum would be a huge addition because he could come in right in and play 4. Now, would teams go right at him to try to test him out? Absolutely. And could that be a big problem? Yeah, which is what I mean. It'll be very interesting to see him come back and see if they could navigate through that enough in time to go on a run. I mean, most likely, their first round matchup, if they can stay the 2 seed, which could definitely happen, who knows? I mean, that whole, top of the East could jumble up a little bit, but if they could get the 2 seed, I think that would be, the position they would want because then you'd play, one of those playing teams like the Heat, the Magic, the Hawks or the Hornets if they jumped up, instead of having to play the Sixers or the pesky Raptors or, someone like that, which could help them out. But man, that would just be such a fun storyline for the final month of the season because not only do you wonder if, he'd be able to be integrated with those new players, but I guess my biggest question would be, would he be able to exist and function on the floor trying to come back with him not being the best player? Because I think Jaylen Brown, for this season has to be their number 1 player. Like they can't go away from what has been working the whole season. And Jaylen Brown has been awesome. So, I wonder if that'd be something that could be a problem.
Jaylen Brown was kind of the best player technically in the year they won the finals. So let's be real. I think those 2 as a duo, if anyone's going to work it out, it's those guys. They've been there, done that before. They only care about that championship. those two guys, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I don't see their ego getting in the way of that.
Yeah,
Ben, what do you think?
I agree, Joey, with what you said. Those guys have played together for a long time. They won a championship like that. Well, I think they're just gonna fit in okay as they have before, and their goals and mine are gonna be what can we do to help the Celtics, bring home another banner, what's best for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see on the next edition of the podcast. Maybe we'll get an official declaration of when Jason Tatum will be back in the lineup here to see if we can have just another crazy Eastern Conference team hook up to finish off the season. Just can't wait. Again, these big games coming up. We also have, there's the Lakers and the Nuggets play on Thursday night when we're going to be recording. So, that'll be a battle between two struggling contenders, as I say, as Denver. It looks like they are going to pull it out. Keontae George missed a three that would have tied the game with a second left. My goodness, we'll see if the Nuggets can find their rhythm. But that's it for us here. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
Oh, I think Nick has his award.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, almost forgot. This is the second edition of the awards from Coach Cove. Nick, explain what you got here today.
Yeah, so for the second time, we're doing the Heart, Hustle, and Selflessness Awards because those are the three principles that I prioritize in my coaching. And we're going to highlight guys at the end of the month. So we have a third place, a second place, and a first place award for the month of February. And before we get into it, I'll tell you guys that after I go through each guy, I'll ask if you have anything to say about it, and feel free to jump in. And then also before we start, I wanted to get your thoughts and see if you wanted to pre-nominate anybody that met your criteria for this month.
I got someone immediately. Lou Dort. He has been fantastic, super ethical basketball player. Guy everyone wants on their team.
That's funny.
Okay.
Guys, I have a couple guys. Obviously, because we see him on our team at Keon Ellis for the Cavs since moving to the Cavs has been really good in that area. But I don't feel one of those Warriors guys with Steph being out. They've been still playing okay, like a Guy Santos or a Pat Spencer or one of those guys. I don't know though. This will be a good one.
Number one lacrosse player, Pat Spencer.
Okay. Third place. We have close miles. I went with two Thunder guys that kept them afloat without Shea, and that's Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe.
Lou Dort snub.
Yeah, Lou Dort snub, right. Cason Wallace, he had a 25, 7, and 8 game. Really kind of got himself talked about a lot as potential another option there in OKC. And then Isaiah Joe, shooting 50% on 7 threes a game since the All-Star break. Absolutely. Crazy. Yeah, his impact has been unbelievable. So those two guys led them to go 3-1 without Shea after the All-Star break. Cason had 15, 6, and 5 splits during that time, and Isaiah Joe had 14 points a game on 50% shooting. So
I will say Isaiah Joe, that game against the Cavs, he literally could not miss. I saw him doing a step back fadeaway from 5 to 7 feet behind the 3-point line, and it just looked like a moonshot, and it was just swish perfect. He could not miss.
Yeah, two dangerous guys on a dangerous team, so definitely epitomizing that heart and hustle part of the Heart, Hustle, Selflessness Award. Next up, we have Peyton Pritchard of the Boston Celtics, who got moved to the bench towards the beginning of the month or so, pretty recently, changed his role there in Boston. And man, 19, 4, and 6 in the month of February on 44% three-point shooting. The Celtics were 9-2 in that month, and he played all 11 games. So it was hard for me not to put him as the winner of this award, but there was one guy ahead of him. When you go on an 11-game win streak and you're the best player on your team and you set the tone for the All-Star game and really make it the real reason why it was worth watching, those are the biggest reasons I put Vic as a top dog for this month. So you
That's
got Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace, Pritchard, and Vic.
I like Wemby as a good pick, especially for the month of February, just because that All-Star game was fantastic, and he, like you said, he really set that tone. He really did.
You're right, though, and with the Spurs going undefeated in the month of February, definitely deserving. He'll be in the running for Player of the Month for February. Mitch Johnson will probably be the Coach of the Month. That just got me thinking. When you said month of February, I thought you might go with Black History Month, Jared Allen. he has been that good. I'm actually excited to see where he falls in place in the voting. And now that's got me thinking, if Jared Allen were to win Player of the Month, where would that rank as far as most random winners of the Player of the Month award in history? But hey, with the way he played, I think he'd be very deserving if he got it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, overall, another fun episode of the podcast. Well, I want to see, now that February's over, what were Jared Allen's averages? I'm going to find them. In 11 games where the Caps were 8-3, Allen averaged 22 points and 11 rebounds, shooting 74% from the field. That is awesome stuff, man.
Really good. Yeah.
That is crazy.
That's the real snub, the hard hustle selflessness award here.
Might be. But now that is it for us here. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
Don't think so. Happy March, everybody.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Getting closer to March Madness, and right after that, it'll be close to playoff time. Crazy to say. Definitely excited for it to keep on ramping up. But if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.